We'll see. We'll find out. At least now I can barely see the blinky light. So I moved the camera up just a little bit. I wish it was like another quarter of an inch higher. And hopefully that's a little bit better of a perspective for the camera, being able to look over the windshield a little more. Yeah, some of this might be a lot of background music because I got a 4-hour drive and I want to listen to the radio. So we'll see. Worst intersection in Augusta right here. But I might be able to just tone out some of the background music. I don't know. Because if I get it coming through my headset, the microphone picks it up still. But I don't want to do a 4-hour drive talking to myself. Blinky light's definitely nice. Now when I stop to have to pee, I got to tie my boot. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. So far, the Milwaukee leather gloves are doing an alright job, but the end of my fingers are cold. See, and this is a great example of the possibility of something that I didn't necessarily think of, and that's that it's starting to rain. And that is going to be, well, less than ideal, to say the least. You know, but what are you going to do? Still beautiful, still on the bike. It's not going to make me any colder because, for the most part, I'm prepared for it. But I think I'm following, like, coming into the rain. So, hopefully it doesn't get too bad. It kind of sucks living someplace like Maine because we don't have a J&P cycle or a Dennis Kerr or a Revzilla or Cycle Gear that's close. You know, we have to go out of state to even get to something like that. We have your little, you know, your locally owned businesses, which I love to support, but, you know, sometimes their vendors are limited on what they can get, or, you know, for whatever reason, they're just prohibitively more expensive. So I'm all about supporting local business, supporting friends, but if they're not, you know, consumer friendly, then, you know, we got to look out for our best interest. But yeah, I'm definitely driving right into the rain. And I don't know if these gloves are waterproof or if they're just supposed to be warm. If they're not waterproof, this is going to be really miserable. The jacket's waterproof, the boots are waterproof-ish, mostly. I actually meant to bring another pair of shoes, but I forgot. And, you know, I'm not too worried about the chaps, what they're going to let in. So if anything, I got to worry about my crotch area in my hand. Watching John from Cycle Fanatic yesterday, and he went over to the New Rage Cycles. This is another great example. That's actually pretty local to him, to get a fender eliminator, a tail tidy for his new motorcycle. And that's another great example. You know, there's no place like that up here in Maine that I could, you know, once I have any kind of audience, there's nothing like that I could go pop in and, you know, give a tour of the facility and kind of try to help out a local business. So it's really, you know, it's kind of unfortunate. It'd be a lot cooler if there was. But despite, you know, even despite Maine's claims of being business friendly, it's a very expensive place to do business. What do we got going on here? Yeah, I wish I had heated gloves. Or I wish my heated grips worked. I could take them back apart and try to get that sorted out, but it's a pain in the ass. Trying to deal with pinched wires. The camera is just enough in the way, like, to make it hard to see the radio. Yeah, see, that could be a potential viewer later on, you know, when I get stickers made for my hat, my helmet and stuff, hats, t-shirts, fucking yoga pants and phone cases and backpacks. Everybody would be walking around with Rider Talk HQ swag, which reminds me, like, follow, subscribe, whatever. Leave a comment down below. Let me know if you're enjoying the content. And I even figured out a plan for my idea, or what, if you will, for you know, my point of view that I would like to do, which is to have a camera here and a 360 camera, like an Insta360, somewhere back there looking just over my head and at me, or a 360 camera here and you know, a GoPro back here looking at me, or just high enough on my helmet. I'm going to try different things to find something that works for me, and to give the channel kind of a unique perspective that everybody else doesn't have. But anyway, so the Rode Pro mic, and there's a couple others. DJI makes one, and Cinco, I think it's called, makes one, which the Cinco is probably the better no-name brand, and probably where I'll start when I do get to do this, just, you know, because it's expensive to get into and it might not work out. But so I can have the camera here and a camera back there, and then I can have the receiver plugged into the camera that's up here, and the transmitter will be velcroed to the back of my helmet with the microphone run to the inside, because you can plug a lav mic into these transmitters, and then I don't have to deal with syncing audio, you know, and having one crazy long audio track that I then have to piecemeal together for different bits of video, you know, if I decide to. Well, like this time, for example, I segmented the video and I shut it off for a little while so I could listen to the radio. You know, if I was just doing a forever loop of audio, I'd have to sync that up in post and get it perfect. So hopefully my little idea here alleviates that and gives me a more unique perspective that doesn't involve just this, looking forward with a camera looking back at me. You know, instead you'd have an always forward perspective somewhere, potentially, and then another perspective looking back at me. But you'd kind of always be able to see me. And I was thinking about taking, because I don't care if you can see like the selfie stick that the Insta360 attaches to, but going right off the luggage rack with that in the middle, and then finding the ideal height so that when I look over me, I want to be able to see my helmet, you know, and kind of have that kind of third-person perspective. Be interesting to see how it works out. And something smells fucking horrible. Now we're in wonderful southern Maine, Yarmouth, Falmouth area. Doing a little highway blast, because this would be like a 7-hour drive without it. Bridge expansion joints. It's unfortunate that they haven't come up with a magical way to engineer those. For anybody curious, driving through Portland on the interstate on a motorcycle, or in town Portland, sucks. It's just not a great thing at all. But I'll probably roll photo. I don't know. See, I'm kind of a nerd. Like, I'm a gear nerd. So I watch all kinds of stuff, and I really enjoy photography. So I watch a lot of videos about photography. And Jared Poland from ProKnowsPhoto.com is entertaining as all get out to me. I don't know why, but I find the dude he's really entertaining, he's really informative, he's a little biased towards Canon, but I'm okay with that, because if you're not a fan of something, what are you really showing the world? You know what I mean? I don't want to see people that don't have an opinion of their own. You know, I don't want to see somebody that just, you know, this camera's good, this camera's good, this camera's good, this camera's good, or this motorcycle's good because it's this motorcycle. You know, I want to know that you love something. And that's how I really feel about it. You know, like, if somebody's trying to sell me, you go into a dealership, right, and you're at a Dodge dealership or a Ram dealership like this truck here, and the guy trying to sell you the truck is a huge fan of Chevys, right? I'm not going to say that makes him a bad salesman, or he is going to be able to sell you a truck, but if you go in to a Ram dealership and you get to deal with somebody that's passionate about Rams, you go to a Chevy dealership and it's somebody that's truly passionate about Chevrolet or Ford, and the salesman is passionate about Ford, they're going to do better. Like, they're going to be a better salesman. And so, even when it comes to content on YouTube, you know, if you got somebody that's truly passionate about something, it's going to be more enjoyable. And I absolutely love riding motorcycles. Like, hands down, no questions asked. This is what I love to do. It's not cheaper than therapy. Because I'm not out here trying to ride and, you know, put all my problems on everybody else. But when I'm out here riding and I'm not spending God knows how long talking to myself looking like a fool, which is another thing that I've got to figure out how to overcome, is when you're in public, walking around with a selfie stick at 45 years old talking to yourself. Holy ADHD, talk about getting off track. Shit. What was I going to say? Oh yeah. So back to the not therapy thing. But when I'm on the bike riding, I'm not thinking about all my problems. It's not that they're not there, and it's not that they're still not going to be there when I get off the bike. I'm just not worried about them. You know, if that makes any sense. Like, I'm not thinking about it. I'm not thinking about whether or not my son was well behaved today. I'm not thinking about the next bill I've got to pay. I'm not thinking about, hell, I'm not even thinking about subscribers or who's going to watch this video. Because if you don't, you don't. You're missing out, not me. I got to be here. I get to live this life right here. I'm not thinking about anything, and it's not just like the bad stuff. Like, I'm not thinking about, this is what I'm thinking about when I'm on the bike. I'm not thinking about the good stuff either. You know, I don't ride down the road and think, you know, geez, dinner last night was great, which it was. We had Chinese food, but I'm not thinking about it. I'm thinking about being on the bike. I'm thinking about the road in front of me. I'm thinking about the scenery and safety, and it's awesome. I wouldn't give it up for the world. Like, I love this. Like, having a view like that, being able to ride by this, there's nothing in between me and it, man, that's beautiful. So, back to where we started, which somehow we started with this conversation being about salesmen, which if you're going to be a content creator and you're going to get people to watch your content, I guess that involves a little bit of salesmanship. You know, you have to be charismatic. Now, I don't know if I am. I was when I was younger, but then life happened, and, you know, I got older and older, and I started being in serious relationships, and I got married, and charisma kind of went out the window because my wife's a beautiful woman, but we kind of take it for granted when we get to that point. So, in retrospect, I should probably put a little more back into that. And I'm not saying I neglect my wife or ignore my wife, but you know, anybody that's been married for a long period of time has gone through a moment where they're like, geez, you know, I'm not romancing my wife like I was when I met her. And this goes for girlfriends, boyfriends, significant others, partners, whatever you happen to call that other person in your life. Because me personally, I don't give a shit. You know, like, your life is your life. I don't have to live it. And everybody deserves respect and dignity. And that's kind of the bottom line. But yeah, so, you know, take a minute once in a while and look back and ask yourself, am I putting as much effort into this now as I was before it was a show? Alright, turning this on because we're getting ready to go across the Portsmouth Bridge here in a minute. And, you know, it's like an iconic part of Maine. So if anybody ever happens to watch this, that is part of the Coast to Coast for American Truck Simulator. The last time I played it, specifically the Coast to Coast map, you guys blew this part, because without the Portsmouth Bridge coming into Maine, it's not special. I think, you know, it's like the arches of St. Louis for us up here. It represents something, and you got to get that part right. But, so with that being said, without any further ado, I'll just shut up and let you enjoy the ride. Exit 2, Kittery Trading Post, South Berwick, Maine. And the next exit is in New Hampshire. And there you have it. For anybody that's never seen it, this is how you enter Maine. Piscataqua River Bridge. These bumps are a little fucking ridiculous though. One last biggin, and then more of these, which they suck even more on a corner. But whatever, can't get rid of them. Meow. Wish I knew what that sound. It sounds fucking weird. It sounds like something scratching my helmet. And I got the vents all closed. So that stunt show I went to yesterday with the wife and my youngest son, it amazes me the different parts of something that somebody finds the most exciting. Like for my son, he's like, Daddy, did you get any videos when they popped their tires? Which, through the course of recording, you know, a half an hour of video or so on my phone, I got lots of moments where they pop tires. But those were the specific moments that he found the most entertaining, is when their tires blew, you know, doing burnouts and stuff. So it's kind of funny. you know, for me it would be the wheelies or the donuts or, you know, some of the more epic burnouts. But for him, it was, you know, all about popping tires. Yeah, I miss living in town. I hate living out in nowhere. Nice fancy dancy Corvette. God, I love those. I wish I could afford one. I'd have two.
Go past these lights. Then at the next set, turn right onto Pleasant Street.
Pretty sure I can go this way and get to where I park.
At the stop sign, turn left onto Franklin Street.
We've arrived. I'll see y'all in a bit.